fans, we are back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, goons of all ages. It is your favorite podcast. My brother is an idiot, and we are damn glad you're here. Welcome. Live from the pool deck. I am the king of the goons. My name is Matt. I'm going to kick you around the rest of the squad. First, my co-brother-in-law. He of the sports cards, comic books, electronic games, and all kinds of other things business. Tank of Knox Collectibles. What's up, bro?
How's it going, guys?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Coming down from Christmas.
Right. That's what this is for.
I don't have that right now.
Well, I was proactive. Oh, there's Sandog. Hello, Sandog.
I have Diet Cherry Pepsi.
There you go. All right, next, the man we named the podcast after. Easy for me to say. He is my brother, the idiot, the Guldagoon, the Kaiser, the one with the hair, the Duke of all Goondom. I summon my brother, the idiot, Goon.
And I'm here.
You sounded kind of like a pirate right there. And I'm here.
Arr, we matey. How's it going?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good. It's probably about an inch of snow already on the ground, and it rained for 5 hours before that, so everything is super slick. My wife just got home from Thornton, and she looks like she just saw a ghost, so I'm sure her drive home was awesome.
Sounds like it was just peachy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here, the one with the hair. Is that a Friends reference or just because I'm bald?
Neither one of you guys have hair.
True. I have some, but not much.
He's got more than I do.
Well, yeah.
Right.
A pumpkin has more than you do.
Which is why I'm the one.
That is true. You're not wrong. A pumpkin does have more than me.
But I'm getting
all
close.
right. Right. Well, let's get rolling. We do want to share with you some Milty news because we all know how much you all love, respect, and admire the man, the myth, the legend, the Emperor Milty. When last we gathered together, he was unable to join us because we told you he had a big day the next day. Well, after 26 days in the hospital, we are pleased to report to all that Milty is home, resting, and is good to go. We will see him soon. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Milty, we love you. Rest up, bro. Hopefully Nana's got the iPad fired up.
He's definitely asleep by now. She might be too, because they had a day again today.
They did have a bit of a day. Nothing critical, nothing major, but
No,
stuff.
they had a day.
Right. All right. So we love you, Milty. We'll see you soon. That is your Milty update. Now let's move on to the bracket. Yes, the world's worst mascots dwell in the NBA. And we've got 2 more bits to talk about. 4 more teams. And let it be said, I am not a homer. I have thrown the Denver Nuggets into the bracket because Nuggets are not scary. They are very small rocks. Or something you get in breakfast cereal. I'm not sure which. However,
chicken nuggets.
Oh, chicken nuggets. Yeah, that's a thing too. Yeah, for sure. I have thrown them in the bracket against the Detroit Pistons. Yes, car parts versus very small rocks. Tank, starting with you, which one moves on as the worst mascot of the 2?
Nuggets? Let me explain. Oh, wait, we're doing worst, right? Pistons.
Worst, yeah.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Pistons, in theory, can be dangerous because it's attached to a car, and cars are one of the leading causes of death in the United States. But Nuggets are made of gold, and I think that might be the leading cause of death in the world.
Oh my God.
The man's not wrong.
No, he's not. No, he's not at all.
So by virtue of the wars fought over gold, Tank
The Nuggets are better.
Tank says the Pistons move on.
Yes.
Mark, what do you got?
So no, did he say the Pistons are the worst or the Nuggets are the worst?
The Pistons are the worst.
Okay, no, okay, then I'm agreeing with you because it's a car part, and yes, it's dangerous, but so technically are chicken nuggies if you eat the whole 20-pack from McDonald's after your wedding,
Oh, very true.
which I did.
Yes, we are aware.
No, I had 2 Big Macs, a thing of fries, and 20 chicken nuggets after
Oh
the
my
wedding.
god, dude!
And
And a McFlurry. 2
Oh, so
McFlurries.
you had no plans on moving anywhere that night.
Well, we had already done the deed and she had passed out, so I, Rochambeau'd myself some fucking McDonald's to the room. I think I spent like $40 on that McDonald's order.
Well, let's be honest. When you get married, you don't have time to do anything but walk around and say thank you, let alone
Right.
eat.
Yeah.
So no one's begrudging you the ability to eat 40 Chimkin McNuggets.
Oh no, I get it. I ate cake by hand so
I think we each had like 3 finger food things and then a bite of cake each.
Yep.
And I was pretty close to everything that we had.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
get
pretty
it.
standard. Pretty standard for
But
the
anyways,
bride.
going back to the point, the Pistons definitely move on because without the rest of the engine and the oil and the gas and the other things, the Pistons don't do fucking shit. They just kind of sit there and break. So chicken nuggies are definitely better because they're nuggets or gold nuggets, and that's Bullion, which is at Fort Knox, and then Goldfinger's going to make it all nuclear, and he's going to be the richest man in the world. So nuggies are safe in this round. The Pistons move on.
All right. I am going to make it a clean sweep. No one's scared of a piston unless you blow one. Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Mark. Oh, where'd he go? God, he ran away. Just when I was going to tell him something fun.
Apparently Detective Pikachu's now co-hosting.
You're right. Well, I do want to. Hey, Mark.
I heard my name.
Yeah, we called it Nana is watching. Hi, Nana.
That's awesome.
Right? Give Muti our love. We just talked about him. You missed it. All right. So the Pistons move on as the worst of the two. The Nugs are safe. I have done my duty as an impartial host of this podcast. Next up, we've got another cross-conference matchup. We have the Indiana Pacers and the Phoenix Suns. You've got glowing death ball in the sky in Phoenix and race cars that hold other race cars in check. Mark, starting with you, who you got?
Okay, so out of context a little bit, but we'll start with what happens with the sun in Phoenix. What happens to the sun in Phoenix? What happens in Phoenix because of the sun?
People die.
People melt. Yeah.
People melt. How far away is the sun from Phoenix, Arizona?
Several million light years.
It's
Miles. Several million
Yeah,
miles.
miles. It's no light years.
I have no idea.
But
Very
the
far
point
away.
being is people die from the sun every day in Arizona, and so that makes them scary suns. Now, in contrast, the Pacers, if I'm going off the rails a little bit, we'll go back to my mom, who is a Pacer. She walks around, we were talking about this little fella here.
The Gonk droid.
Since she's up, dog, Nana. She is not frightening at all. So somebody who walks around or somebody who keeps the race cars in check, those are the same things. Suns are way scarier. Way scarier. You could get like a tan here or like cancer or like the sun explodes. Like those are scary things. But gog. It's not scary. Back to you.
All right, Tank, what's your call?
I'm gonna go with sun because it's basically holding us all hostage. If it ever disappears, I think we do too. So, and you can't really. Who's afraid of a pace car? Pace cars are actively trying to help people, in theory.
So it's going to be 2 votes for the Pacers to move on. I am going to be contrarian just because I can. Fuck Suns in 4 guy. I'm going to vote the Pacers just because. But I would probably vote Suns do not move on if it wasn't already going to happen. I just wanted to say fuck Suns in 4 guy. All right, so the Pistons move on and the Pacers move on. We'll talk more about that in our next episode. Let's move on to news and notes in the NFL, and here we go. Yes, Milty is still up, but not for long. Hi, Milty.
Hi, Milty.
Rest up, buddy. We love you. This is for you.
He is around. He's just healing up.
Yep, he's healing up. All right. Seems like something we do far too often on My Brother is an Idiot. We have to say, are you coach?
Are you coach?
Yes, on the heels of Patrick Starr roasting Russell Wilson for burning what he cooked on Nickelodeon.
I don't think that's what he was supposed to cook.
I know. It was so funny. Did you see the setup? They had him in the truck with like the motion capture and the thing right in front of him. So it was like this filter, like right in front of him. It was like, I don't think that's what he was supposed to do.
Well,
yes, Nathaniel Hackett has been fired. Tank, your reaction.
I think it was inevitable, and it was just done faster because I think it wasn't going to last. He was going to last a year, I think, up until that just beat down. I think he would have lasted the year. I think they still would have got rid of him because it's just he's not effective at doing anything apparently as a head coach. So I think he was gone either way. But yeah, after getting beat down by honestly, those 2 touchdowns were junk touchdowns anyway, to be honest. So you could have been a shutout and I wouldn't have been surprised at that point. Because that was bad.
Yeah, terrible. Mark, what say you?
This was my quote for the entire thing is you can't get beat on Christmas Day by letting up 50 points on Nickelodeon and expect to keep your job. It's just not going to happen. And then there's fights on the sideline. There's fights in the stupid handshake pile up thing that they do. And there's, like you can't. He lost control of the team, obviously. And I would think they probably would have liked to keep him till the end of the year. But when you get embarrassed like that on national TV again, and it's the worst embarrassment of the year, and you get moved out of national TV also, like it was going to happen eventually. But the 50 points, that definitely put the nail in the coffin, I think, for him. So it was going to happen, but it got accelerated because the Rams are garbage and they put up 50 points.
Yeah, how do you lose by that much to Baker? That's the biggest. It's like Baker's trash.
He looked like the best quarterback in the NFL somehow.
He's terrible. I mean, he's on his 3rd team, and he was the first round pick, or the first pick of the first round. What, 4 years ago? The Hall of Fame 5 were all supposed to be these saviors, and he was the first one taken, and he's on his 3rd team, and he's garbage. You can't lose to that guy like that, especially when you know your job's in trouble.
Hall of Fame 5. There's one of them that's any good?
Also to your cousin-in-law, or cousin by marriage. Yeah. Kroenke is married to a Walton.
Yeah.
They might be co-brothers-in-law.
They might be co-brothers-in-law. I'm not sure.
Could you imagine those 2 guys sitting in the booth in LA on Christmas Day, and Kroenke is just giving Penner and those guys shit about how their team is? No wonder the coach got fired.
Right. I get to see Stan because Kroenke's like, he's very like muted and subdued, but I can see him just like sliding over shots of scotch. You're gonna need this. You're gonna need this. Oh no, it's 35 points. You're gonna need this. Oh, it's 40. You're gonna need this. Oh, it's 51. You're gonna need this. Oh, hey, did you see what Patrick Starr said about you? You're gonna need this.
Rams scored again. Do a shot.
Yeah, do a shot. Got to do
now
a shot.
It's a drinking game.
Yep, now it's a drinking game, and Walton got hammered, and Hackett got fired. Well, that's enough talking about what happened. Let's talk about what's going to happen. And Mark, I'm going to start with you here. I know you've already gone on record privately and told me who you wanted, but who do you want to be the next Denver head coach?
I have two ways of thinking about this, and I would be fine with either one. The first one is the one that Matt mentioned, and I think I threw this out to Tank yesterday too, was that, Sean Payton could come to the team. He comes with a defensive coordinator, one that we're familiar with, Vic Fangio. So there is that. But, as a defensive coordinator is great. He's just not a head coach. The other option that I think would be exactly what this team needs is sitting up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, bite your fucking tongue.
Wow.
It's the West Coast offense scheme that they want to put in.
I am going to tell your sister-in-law what you just said.
Succeeded at every single level.
Hey, babe. What? Mark wants Jim Harbaugh.
That's not what I said. I told you I want Sean Payton, but I could see either one being head coach. They need somebody who's going to be a grown-up with Russell Wilson around, and it's not going to be a first-time head coach again. It's got to be someone like a Dan Quinn or a Jim Harbaugh or a Sean Payton who's going to tell Russell to shut the fuck up and give up his 6 parking spots.
I've got one issue with the Payton thing, and it has nothing to do with his ability or the fact that I think he can do all of the things we need him to do. I don't know how they get him because they're going to have to trade for him. And they don't have any capital. I mean, the last time anyone traded for a head coach, it cost 2 number ones. They don't have that. They don't have number ones to give unless you're talking about 2025, right? It's just not. I don't see it happening. I would be pleased,
which is why
he can pull it off without it.
Why he's the wish list coach, and that never happens. Because if I got the wish list coach, we would be okay because we'd have Mike McDonald here.
Mike McDonald,
Yeah.
Head coach of the Dolphins.
The offense coach.
That's McDaniels,
but yeah,
you're
Mike
right. McDaniel, whatever.
Yeah. Michael McDonald's a.
God, that's a good song. Let's throw some Mike McDonald on the back.
Like a wind.
Yeah.
Michael McDonald's sung backup on every album in the 80s.
That was the coach I wanted last year. So if we were doing wish list, we'd be okay with him. And I get that Sean Payton's probably out of contention, but that's who I would want.
Right. Scott Frost is available. That's got to be Danny Ware. Yeah, of course it is Dan Ware.
Oh, my God.
Screw the corn, Dan.
No,
Nobody cares about Nebraska. We'll have that conversation when that game comes up and Prime pounds the hell out of the corn. Tank, who do you want?
Oh, God, I'm a contrarian. I hate this. Okay. Sean Payton was a good coach. He was a good coach, not a great coach. If he was a great coach, they would have had more than one Super Bowl, which was kind of gimme because they got a lot of unfair treatment that year in there to help boost them up on a couple of games. He's a good offensive coach. I don't really want Vic Fangio, to be honest. I understand that he is a great defensive coordinator, but I don't want to bring in a coach that seemingly has as much luggage as he wants to carry on. He wants to bring his entire coaching staff that he already has pieced together, apparently, and I don't really like that.
So who do you want then?
I'm going to go with Dan Quinn. I think he is a smart enough coach that he will let an offensive coordinator run his offense the way that he should. And I think that is going to be a big issue, is they need to find an offensive coordinator that can run the type of zone scheme that Russell needs to be more effective in, I think.
Lisa says you should be the coach.
I can win you 4 games for $10 million.
Right.
As long as you share.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because I actually don't want Evero to go anywhere either.
Oh, yeah.
I want Evero to stay on. And we know that will not happen with Peyton. that probably wouldn't happen with Harbaugh. He probably has his own people. And I think it would be disrespectful, honestly, to what Evero seems to have accomplished with half a defense this year.
The problem is he's going to be up for a bunch of head coaching jobs this year too, unfortunately, due to the way the defense worked, which is why he turned him down for the interim job because he was their first choice for that.
Yeah,
Actually,
but I don't.
The story came out today that he turned down the job out of respect for Hackett because he and Hackett are friends.
Yeah, he actually turned it down as a kind of a thing for Hackett, but I don't think that means
he didn't want to be the guy to replace his best friend.
Yeah, I don't think that means he's going to go anywhere, and I hope it doesn't mean he's going to go anywhere because I'd like to keep that coach that can seemingly pull something out of nothing like he did this year.
Well, let's talk about it then. How many other teams are going to need head coaches in a couple weeks?
7. It's always about a third of them.
Yeah, but name them.
Obviously,
before this week, I would have told you the guy in San Diego is on the hot seat. I think McDaniels is on the hot seat.
Already?
We'll get to that in a minute.
They won't get rid of him, but I agree.
Yeah.
I don't
if
see
they were
7
smart
teams this year losing coaches.
Just wait.
I
Just
don't see it.
Who else?
Name them then. Let's talk about who's going to.
That's what I'm talking about. Who could be gone?
Let's wait. Let's hear your other candidates. Who else is getting the axe?
I think Mike Vrabel could be in trouble. They're on a slide. He can't figure out what to do with his quarterbacks.
Kingsbury's gone, I think.
I
think Kingsbury's gone.
I think
Kingsbury.
Yeah, I think you're right about him.
Yeah,
so that's
Kingsbury.
3.
I've given you more than 3. We said Vrabel. We said McDumbass. Vrabel.
McDaniels isn't getting fired.
Obviously, he's not. McDaniels isn't going anywhere because they can't afford to him.
They're already paying $10 million for a coach who said some dumb shit in emails 10 years ago.
Yeah, they can't afford to pay 2 coaches. They don't have that much money.
I understand the money part.
Coaches that they'd pay.
I understand the money bit, but it's a possibility.
Colts are going to be finding a new coach because there's no chance that Saturday is going to be brought back.
Cap Perea says, "Go Pack, go."
Oh, all right, Cap. You and my wife.
I don't think the Panthers are going to find a new coach. I think they're actually going to just flip their interim over to head coach because he's done a decent job with that shitty team.
Interim coaches don't generally stick around. Indy's going to be hiring a coach. I just had one at the tip of my tongue.
I know they don't tend to stick around, but I think he's done a good enough job in Carolina with how terrible that team was.
We thought the same thing. We thought the same thing about Bisaccia last year. I thought Bisaccia was going to stick around, but interim coaches just generally don't stick around.
You think the Lions keep Dan Campbell?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he's actually safe.
Yeah,
I think he's safe.
I think he's more than safe
for a few more years, even if they stay where they are now.
Yeah, I don't think Houston loses a coach.
No, you're probably right. I think Lovey's got one more year. Riverboat Ron, I think, is in trouble. They can't seem to figure out what they're doing at quarterback again.
Which isn't his fault. I'd say this is more of the GM and owner, but they are going to fire him probably. He's going to quit.
Yeah, he could do that. One bad game by Heineke, and they benched him in the middle of the game. I don't know. It seemed like a really quick hook. And I had one more that I was thinking of. Now I can't remember who it was. Who was it? Depending on how the end of the season goes, Mike McCarthy's in real trouble.
That's the one I was waiting for. I think McCarthy might be out if they do not pull out of this slide and they have another first round exit.
Yeah, if they miss or lose in the first round, which is going to happen if they make it.
He is a terrible in-game manager.
Awful.
He's just brutal.
There's a reason they wanted him out of Green Bay.
So the problem is, if Mike McCarthy gets fired, then you lose Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn will probably get instantly snatched back up by.
Weirdly enough, I think that's where Peyton would go if that happens.
That could make a lot of sense.
They will pay him a bucket of money. to come over.
Yeah. Let me throw a couple names at you that nobody's really talking about that I find super interesting. The first one is not an exciting name, but he checks all the boxes. Experienced head coach, level-headed, tons of respect in the league. Jim Caldwell, I think, is a candidate for the head coaching job here. The other, yeah, right. And he's a guy. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's in that Tony Dungy school. Yeah, he's in that Tony Dungy school. Doesn't take any shit. I think he handles the business with Russell very well. The other one is a guy who has absolutely zero head coaching experience in the NFL, who is also completely a no-nonsense guy, takes zero shit, and I think would completely fire up this fan base. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Eric fucking Bieniemy, who has been in the wings waiting for a job and could be, with his personality, running that offense and putting Russell in his place. That could be dangerous.
Okay. Problem is why is he up for jobs for 6 or 7 years and nobody's giving him one?
No, I agree. I think he's been passed over.
Weird is about that.
Okay, so first with Caldwell, I would agree with Caldwell, but who's he bringing in for OC?
Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy here.
Would actually do that?
Why not?
Why not?
I'm just asking, do you think he would? Because like you said, he's a very no-nonsense guy. Do you think he'd be like, all right, screw it, let's take Clint and move him up?
He's an old school guy, and so that system works for him because he knows it pretty well. So I think he'd be okay with that.
Okay. As much as people like to talk about the West Coast offense being like high points and super like complicated, and it's smash mouth football. It's toss right, toss left, screen pass, drop a bomb every now and again. It's very much a controlled offense.
It's not super I mean,
it's
super complex, but the idea of it is not very complex.
No, it's complex in the way that they scheme, but I would even say what Clint. I know they call it West Coast, but that's not what it is anymore. It was at one point.
FPO.
Yeah, it was at one point a West Coast definitely inspired, but I'd say way more his is a zone spread at this point.
Yeah.
Because they like to have the
way most of the NFL is right now.
Right.
Yeah, but I know, but specifically with the way that they do their offensive line and the way that they motion receivers and stuff like that, I'd say that's very much a zone spread.
Yeah.
But
that was hilarious.
Yeah. I'm going to say no to
the ghost of Sarah.
Yes,
fucking coach of Sarah Poffel. Just like
there's a nice little pop in over your left shoulder.
She came here to yell at you about Jim Harbaugh.
I'm going to follow in the same line that Mark did on this one. Bieniemy has had a couple of chances to head coach that team, which in turn head coaching that team, it means OCing that team. And they have been crushed every time that's happened. And the offense have just been completely ineffective when he's coaching. And I think that's why he's been passed over so many times. There's a recognition of he is very fortunate to be in a position where he doesn't have to do shit. Because we know that Andy Reid's calling the offense.
So then why does Andy Reid keep him around? Why wouldn't they save the money?
Because why does it matter? He keeps a guy that he likes on staff. He keeps a guy that he knows will do what he says.
It's George Charles Andre Miller. He's a whoopee.
Yeah, I don't think Bieniemy has anything to do with how good that offense is, legitimately. He's supposed to be a running backs guy, and this is the first time they've had a running back since Jamal Charles that was actually any good. Kareem had one good year, I guess. Kareem Hunt had one good year.
Well, yeah, they had a guy, and then he got stupid, and then they traded him away because he was an idiot. That had nothing to do with his performance on the field. Had nothing to do with what he was doing on the field. Kareem Hunt's a badass.
Yeah, until Pacheco came out of nowhere. They have not had an effective runner in a decade, basically.
No, and they spent a first-round draft pick on one who is not
not
great.
even on the field.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Is that Bieniemy's fault though? Who
He's
drafted
the
him?
running backs coach.
Who drafted him? The running backs coach doesn't draft people. The
No,
running
but
backs coach gives a list and says, "This is who I like." And then in this case, Andy Reid and the GM get together and say, "All right, this is what we're going to do because this is what we think." And everybody thought that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was an amazing pick coming out of college, and he had a good year and a half, and all of a sudden he just fucking disappeared.
I thought he was fast as shit, but I wasn't impressed by his running abilities.
I was not. I never think that a first round running back is a great idea.
Oh no, agreed. Right? I never agree with the drafting of first round running back.
So
But
when you said everybody
that guy
thought that was a great pick, nobody did. Everyone was like, "What are they doing?"
The only problem, well, they had
not
nothing
nobody
to do.
did. You're wrong about that
Yeah.
because people said that was a great pick because he fits perfectly in that offense.
Yeah, but you
And
said
for whatever reason,
But the problem is that he didn't
you
fit.
said nobody.
Problem is that he didn't fit, which I guess you could say that speaks to the GM and potentially Andy Reid, but he's coaching up the running backs, and you have a guy that's a number one pick that can't block, that can't run out of a spread, that doesn't fit into the offense because they need someone that's a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more of a thunder than lightning kind of guy in that offense. And that seemed like a bad choice, and just there's no development there. Either way, Bieniemy has had chances to head coach and OC that team, and based on what we've seen, he can't. With the talent level that they have, he was not able to functionally do anything as a coach.
Then why does he keep getting interviews?
Because he is the OC of one of the best offenses ever put together on a football field.
Why does everyone want to go see The Wizard of Oz?
Why did we just fire Hackett?
Why
Because-
does everybody love the McRib when it comes up?
He was running a back-to-back
It looks
MVP.
delicious, and then it's really nasty.
Yeah, Hackett was running a back-to-back MVP, but something we learned very quickly, he wasn't running that offense.
No. I don't
And
think he was
I
running
think-
much of anything.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar scenario here. I don't think he was running that offense. I've heard Hackett is well liked, and I can understand that because he seems like a nice guy. He seems like a good guy to hang out with, but I don't think he has the intelligence the football intelligence specifically, to do what he was being asked to do. And I think that's the same thing with Bieniemy.
I think he's a super bright guy. I just don't think he's head coach material. I don't think he's got the capability to hold accountability, and it's clear that he lost control of the team in the last game, which is what ultimately cost him his job. All right, we've kicked around the
whole Melvin Gordon thing. Like, you can't just keep going back and forth with the Melvin Gordon and expect to be a head coach. You know, you can't be buddy with these guys. It doesn't work.
All right, so we've talked about who we want. We've thrown some names at the wall to see who stick. I'm asking for predictions. Mark, who do you think it will be? If I had to hold your feet to the fire right now, like an upside-down gonk droid in Jabba's palace.
No. Gonk. I say I'm not sure who's going to be the head coach because I haven't asked enough people. I've only asked 3 trees so far, so I need to get some more research done.
I'm holding your feet to the fire. You have to make a prediction. I'm not going to hold your prediction to account, but the whole point is we're making a prediction right now, knowing full well that they're probably going to be wrong.
The current interview selection that I have is 3 trees. And I don't think the 3 trees are great coaching material. Without that knowledge, I cannot make an accurate prediction. So I'm going to say Bill Goldberg.
You waffling motherfucker. Tank, save the podcast, please, because Mark apparently doesn't like making decisions.
I think it's going to be Frank Reich. I think it's me, Frank Reich. I think that he showed enough.
Lisa says it should be you again.
Agreed. I think he showed enough in Indy that if things wouldn't have fallen apart and all the injuries happened, that they would have been better. And I think given the right talent, he's a good enough coach for quarterbacks that he could do something with this offense.
I think it's going to be Dan Quinn. Honestly.
I hope it's Dan Quinn.
Yeah, I would, and I wouldn't be mad at that. I would love to see Jim Caldwell. I think that'd be fantastic. But
I would also love to see Caldwell.
Your oldest is now the defensive coordinator.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
She's vicious enough that she could potentially do it, but I think we might get a bounty gate issue if that happened.
That's true. That's definitely.
I think she's more suited to be
defensive with your youngest, though.
I mean, viciousness kind of leads itself to special teams coordinator, doesn't it? I mean,
true.
Captain Insano running up and down the sideline screaming.
Hey, when I was coaching, that's what I did.
I miss Keith Burns too.
Oh, Burnsy.
Oh yeah, when I was coaching, I was the special teams coordinator, so that fits.
Yeah, there
that
you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Fits the mold.
All right, well, let's flush the Broncos conversation and move on to other news of note in the NFL. And McDipshit is McDipshitting again, and they have decided to bench Derek Carr in favor of, wait for it, Jarrett Stidham. Does anyone else get Orton 2.0 vibes out of this?
I'm not getting Orton. I'm getting Matt Castle vibes out of this.
Oh, I'm totally getting the Kyle Orton, Jay Cutler thing going on here right now. It's like he can't get along with his quarterback, and now he's just like benching him so he can have somebody else, and it happens to be somebody he's worked with once.
Yeah,
and that's where you're saying it's a Matt Castle thing, but
yeah,
it's totally the Kyle Orton when McDaniels was the head coach because him and Jay Cutler couldn't get along. Same thing.
And here I'm not going to defend Derek Carr, my bad, the slightly more successful brother.
And longer eyelashes.
No. And truthfully, he's way more successful than his brother was, but his brother was set up.
Also played for the Texans when they were brand new.
Set up for a complete failure. So that man was pounded into the dirt and had no
his offensive linemen were stones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was playing behind Stonehenge.
I always think that Derek Carr's a bit of a puss, but I don't think he's a bad quarterback. This is, like you said, this is completely I want my boy in their move. What did you do?
It comes off.
Did you break
the
gong?
It comes off.
Okay, put the gong.
Oh, that's intentional. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wild. All right.
I mean, he is a walking battery.
But no, this is a completely I want my guy in kind of thing. He wants someone that he can control easier in there, which, hey, that's fine, but it's kind of your fault this offense sucks because it shouldn't suck as bad as it does, to be honest. They've
got some really good talent on that team. I mean,
one of the best
Devontae Adams is
and the number one running back in football.
Yep. They've got statistically the best running back. I think there are probably more talented running backs out there, but Josh Jacobs. Yeah, so like I said, statistically he's having a great year. He's having the best year in the league. I think Hunter Renfrow is fantastic. Waller is amazing.
You should not be as shitty as you are. I understand the defense hasn't been as good as it should be in some instances, but that offense has just dropped way too many just terrible games, especially in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and if you're an offensive coach like McDaniels is, because he's never really done anything with defense, your offense has to lead the way. You know, if your defense is suffering, then you as an offensive coordinator have to overcompensate, which is what should have been done this year with the Broncos. It never was because we were supposed to have an offensive coach, but that's the same thing McDaniels is doing right now. He should be overcompensating for his defense with more points, and it's just not working for whatever.
And how can you have? Okay, like I said, Derek Carr's not the best, but he's not terrible either. You give him his best friend from college, who also happens to be one of the top receivers in the league, and basically disappear him into an offense. How the fuck do you make that happen?
And it's been like that the last half of the season.
Yeah.
They started out great. I just don't understand what the hell they're doing. And that we all knew that McDaniels was going to do something, right? It's just the way he is. You can't change the way you are. Leopard doesn't change its spots. So he was going to do something to make it his, right? And this is the thing. And he's going to Jarrett Stidham, who couldn't start for 30 teams in this league. and now he's going to start for Las Vegas.
And how pissed do you think Devontae's going to be now? Because Carr's gone.
Right.
Carr is gone. He's
Mhm.
out. And he's going to find a job somewhere else. And someone will give him a job as a backup. And if it ends up being, like Tennessee or something like that, he'll probably end up being the starter.
He could go to freaking. Well, he's not coming to Denver. He could go to the Rams and start right away, right?
Probably.
I mean,
well, they're keeping Baker on apparently, so I don't know about that.
That Nana.
Yeah. Thank you for the weather report, Nana. It's snowing. Don't want to shovel tomorrow.
But either way, there's probably 10 teams that you could put Derek Carr on right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be the starter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to piss off your number one receiver and the most expensive part of your entire team by trading away his best friend.
Mm-hmm. How fun was that?
That's just stupid.
Couldn't happen to a nicer team. Blow it up. Good job, Joshy Poo. All right. That's enough Raiders talk for the year, I think.
He did the same thing. He did the same thing here with Cutler and Brandon Marshall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They were a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
And
that's why we were mentioning Kyle Orton.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough Raiders talk for 1 week. Finally, it came out today that Tua Tagovailoa suffered another concussion in the game. McDaniels came out and said, yeah, he's got a concussion. He's in the protocol. To McDaniels' credit, he watched the film, saw the thing, went to Tua and said, go see the doctor. A lot of that maybe is in an effort to save image just a little bit because of what happened earlier in the year, and it didn't look great for the NFL or the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, didn't look great at all. The way they rushed him back and the way he laid the ground for that second hit. But I'll give him credit for making that call. I'm not sure if we're going to see Tua again the rest of the year. Tank, what say you?
It makes you wonder, does someone hate Tua in their concussion spotter or whatever thing?
Jesus. Well, I mean, Jesus hates Tua.
There's a lot of people that hate.
It seems like that hate Tua. It seems like when you watch it back, because I didn't watch that game live, but I watched back what they were talking about. And I'm like, how did they not see him being fucking wonky in that game?
The same with that first hit. Like, how do you let that happen?
Oh, like, it was his back.
Yeah. And it's like, no, he can't see you right now. That's what's happening. And it makes you wonder, like, does someone legitimately hate Tua, or are they just betting against the Dolphins?
I think there's a lot of people that don't like Tua. I don't know if it has anything to do with the way they treat him in his concussions.
Just because he's an Alabama guy?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been this Tua can't throw, Tua can't hit the long ball, Tua's not a starting quarterback. I've never understood the Tua hate that exists out there.
It's the same treatment that Jalen Hurts gets too.
Jesus.
Yeah, except now they're talking about Jalen Hurts as a MVP.
Right. But they were saying that last. Who thinks that Jesus hates me? Who is that?
I don't know.
Hold on.
It's
somebody.
It's just popping up.
It hasn't populated in my Facebook chat yet on my phone. I'm still
what the hell
looking for it. I would like to welcome Andrea. Andrea has joined us. Stephanie has joined us. Welcome. Thank you for joining the Goon Squad. I don't know who said that. It says Facebook user. Maybe it's on somebody else's page. It's not
up on mine.
Identify yourself. Identify.
No, I was saying anyway. Jesus hates Tua, and that's why.
Yeah, Jesus hates Tua. Yes.
But yeah, what a poor bastard. Again, I mean,
do you think it's because he plays in Florida and people in Florida just naturally hate Alabama for how much of a powerhouse it is?
Oh no, it's nationwide. It's absolutely nationwide.
Yeah, I don't like Alabama either, but
neither do I. But I love me some Tua. I've loved him.
I don't wish
when he was in college.
Tua. I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
because he keeps getting injured.
He's got owies on his brain.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out, I did hear something pretty insightful today. Tyler Columbus was talking about how availability is the most important ability, and you get really good as a professional football player hiding stuff like that.
Yeah.
He says, I can't tell you how many times I've been dinged in the head and couldn't see and stayed out there because I didn't want to lose my spot. I was terrified that I was going to get Wally pipped. I don't think those are the words that he used, but I think the comp is accurate. And you get really good at hiding injuries because, if you don't play, you don't get paid.
Which is unfortunately true, but if you watch back that game, it was pretty obvious that something was wrong with him. That was such a dramatic drop off of ability that it just didn't make sense.
Right. 3 picks.
Yeah.
It was just terrible.
Speaking of, hiding your injuries well, have you seen the Chiefs injury report this week?
No.
Because there isn't one.
Yeah, they don't have one.
They don't have one this week.
Yeah.
How is it?
I don't think that they don't have to kick it loose.
Nobody's got anything going on.
I don't think they have to necessarily kick the whole thing loose until Thursday, right?
But they always update things like
sure.
You have to report.
But they legitimately have nobody.
And I think you have to report if they don't participate in practice.
That's correct.
Right. So maybe everybody participated and they walked through in shorts and shells. Who knows, right?
Maybe. There is no injury report for the Chiefs this week, which is
it's
I think the first time I've ever seen that, to be honest.
That they've got full participation from all their players.
Right.
From their entire roster. Yeah.
Week 16, right? I mean, who knows? Let us never forget that Mike Shanahan was the king of that and got in trouble for not reporting accurately. And that's one of the reasons.
Oh, same with Belichick. Didn't he say his entire team was injured at one point?
Yeah.
He put all of them on the injury report?
Yeah. No, Shanahan did that too. After he got busted, anytime anyone had a hangnail, they had
the running joke was Tom Brady was on the injury report for like 4 straight years.
Yeah.
Yeah. The days of newspapers, because we were old, we would get the newspaper. The injury report would be like, Cincinnati would be this big. Denver was this big.
The entire roster. Yeah.
Sit there and laugh at it. It's like, oh, Mike, giving the finger to the rest of the league. All right, so I'm going to pose a question. Should Tua then shut it down for the remainder of the year?
For his health, yes.
Agreed.
3 concussions.
That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If he wants to come back and wants to last another few years in this league, he needs to be benched.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with him in the NFL. It has him to do with, being able to not be a vegetable when he's 40 years old. The guy has had 3 concussions now in less than 4 months, and you're not supposed to have 2 in a year without having permanent brain damage. So I just shut it down just for his own personal health. Just
that also.
Not even dealing with football, just.
Oh, no, it's got nothing to do with football. The reason why I asked the question is, should he do it?
Absolutely.
Just to protect himself.
I'm speaking as if a coach would just like what McDaniel's going to say to him is like, hey, if you want to last in this league, you need to stop.
Right.
You're out for the year.
If he wants to last in life, he needs to stop.
Yeah.
And, they've got a serviceable-ish backup who can win a couple of games for him. I don't know that they're ever going to get out of the playoffs, especially considering the division that they play in. There's some danger there. But Teddy Bridge can do a couple of things. We'll see what happens.
He's a good game manager, so he might be able to make something happen.
I love Teddy Two Gloves. Who doesn't?
Me too. He's a great guy.
Teddy Two Tugs, because he could never get more than 2 touchdowns.
Speaking of Teddy's, I'd like to thank my brother-in-law for getting me this awesome shirt.
I love that shirt so much.
Pablo Escobar, baby.
Yeah, Pablo Escobar.
Escobar.
Love this shirt. This is instantly like top 5.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the NBA. Just gonna go right past that. The Denver Nuggets in first place in the Western Conference. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah!
But one of the things, gentlemen, I think is kind of important to note, especially over the last probably 10 days, because Denver's been on national TV a couple of times, the MVP talk for Joker has ramped up once again, and I can just hear the steam coming out of Nick Wright's ears every time someone mentions the phrase Nikola Jokic.
Can you even
NBA
dispute it?
MVP.
I think he's leading in literally every statistic except for blocks.
Yeah. And by the way, I hated Nick Wright when I lived in Kansas City, and now he's doing the same thing famously across the planet. And it's just hating on all things that are, not Kansas City related or
It's 'cause Nick Wright.
And it's because Kansas City doesn't have an NBA team that he's hating on a team that's close.
Right. Well, his guy's Embiid. He's polishing himself as a Philly guy, and has always put his chips behind Embiid.
No, he's polishing himself for sure, but I don't know.
You can't polish a turd.
Well, I was just thinking I was thinking like Frank was polishing himself.
Yeah, that too.
That's all this is.
Good night, whoever that is.
I'm pretty sure that's Nana. Let's see. It hasn't popped yet. It'll show up in a minute. I'm sure that's Nana. Good night, Nana, if that's you. Whoever, and if it's not Nana, good night.
Good night.
Fairly well.
Facebook user.
Right. Good night, Facebook user. Oh, Restream. Kirk unit. And it's in Vegas is actually getting on board with it too. He's gone from I think 40-1 a month ago to 8-1 and is third behind Embiid and Giannis, or Jason Tatum and Giannis. Yeah. I think maybe
Tatum and Giannis. Yeah, which, by the way, what a slap in the fucking face for Luka. How is he not even? How is he not top 3? Jesus Christ!
Give him another week of doing what he's doing, and I think he's going to get up there. I mean,
60 fucking points.
That game he just played was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Well, you have to have points. Him up there because the Celtics are currently the best team.
Correct.
True, which he deserves
only
to be
by a couple games.
Right, but they are the best team.
The one I don't understand is Embiid, and nothing against Giannis, but this year I don't see him in the top 3. It should. I fully believe Jason should be there. Joker should be there, and I think the other one's Luka. I mean, who's doing more to make their team win right now?
Right.
How many times have the Nuggets been on national TV in the last week?
3.
3 out of.
That's more times than Gene Mingo was on national TV.
Moving on, let's talk about a national TV game and one of the most exciting Christmas games ever played. And that's not just Homer speak. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets against the Phoenix Suns in overtime, back and forth affair, which was effectively ended when Aaron Gordon snatched a guy's soul.
Oh, God, he crushed him.
Of all poster dunks.
Shamet, right?
Shamet is dead.
I think Aaron Gordon's whole point in that game was to make sure everyone knew that he could dunk. He had 5 dunks in that game over people that were astounding, and they just kept getting better and better.
Everyone was better than the last one. Right.
Yeah.
I thought the highlight was the alley-oop when
the alley-oop.
It looked like he had absolutely no shot. And that's a terrible pass. And all of a sudden, Gordon's 7-foot arm comes out of nowhere.
That was a hell of a pass by Jamal Murray.
Yeah, that was wild.
Absolutely. God, it was nuts.
Yeah, I legitimately feel bad.
That was very Jordan
because holy crap! Like that's a legit poster. That's going to be a poster sold in Denver next year. Or maybe
already.
Maybe the end of this year. Like,
hello, Mama Sue. How are you?
Brutal.
Mama Sue is
hi, Mama Sue.
Hey, Mama.
The tragic thing for Shamet was he was having literally a career night. It was his career high in points. He was shooting the lights out. No one's talking about that.
No, because he's
now he's dead. The dancing guys with the coffin are carrying him down.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was bad.
Oh my God! My youngest went to go watch the game with his girlfriend, and we were watching the game here with my oldest and his roommate, and they left in the middle of the fourth quarter, came home, and Sarah was upstairs sleeping, and that dunk happened, and as a group, all 5 of us jumped up and went, "Wah!" And then we could hear Sarah upstairs going, "Wah!" It's like 11:30.
I'm trying to think the last time we had a guy that would do that in a game, that would just posterize people like that. And the one that I could think of The only one that came to my mind, at least recently, would have been Kmart.
Yeah. Kmart had that nasty streak. LaFonso Ellis a time or two, right?
Yeah.
Posters for the wrong reasons. Dikembe ended up on posters, but not because of dunks.
I love Dikembe though, so I don't care.
Who doesn't, right? His blocks were otherworldly.
Yeah.
Now I think you're right. He might be the most athletic big we've ever
had in over a decade. Yeah, like
at least, right?
Yeah,
right. And I would take Aaron Gordon over Kmart any day of the week, right?
Oh, true. Yeah, definitely.
His game's more complete. He's a better teammate. He's a better fit for this team.
Yeah.
His perimeter shooting alone is worth keeping him for.
Oh yeah. He can hit the shot. He's not someone you necessarily would consider a threat, but he can hit the shot enough to make you pay attention.
Every time fucking Kmart posted up from 20 feet, I was like, oh Jesus, no.
Yeah, here we go.
Backboard.
Yeah, you knew what was not about to happen. Yeah.
Right. Another name that just springs to mind on that team, Kenneth Faried was athletic enough. He couldn't shoot at all.
Sometimes, yeah.
But
he could get up there.
Yeah, he could get up there and send a dunk down every now and again. And then there's Birdman. I mean, who doesn't love the Birdman? Right?
Okay, I actually forgot about Birdman, to be honest. But there were some times where he would just decorate people at the post. So yeah,
that's a good verbiage there. Decorate people.
Ooh, I see what you've done there.
Yeah.
The biggest weakness I see right now with the Denver Nuggets, gentlemen, is the bench scoring is still a struggle. When the bench shows up and plays average, they win. When the bench doesn't score any points in the third and halfway through the fourth quarter, they lose.
And that's 100% the thing. Like, the bench is not awful, but when it's not on, you can see it. And it's very like, oh, come on, guys, just pick it up a little bit.
Right.
It's like Malone takes a break, too, when the starters are out.
Sometimes, yes.
How much can you actually coach cold shooting? You've got to give these guys a break, right?
But they don't get open.
They don't. Well, how much can you coach? I'll give you MPJ. He doesn't move. He doesn't move. That man does not. He can't spell cut to the basket.
No.
He stood in that corner for 48 minutes.
That is correct. And you would too if you had knees that were made of balsa wood.
MPJ doesn't have bad knees. He's got a bad back. Cut to the basket.
Well, either way, his back then is.
He can still move. He can play defense. He's athletic enough to play good defense. Yes, I have one.
See, I think the issue we have off the bench is I think Highland isn't doing enough. To be
Bones
honest,
is very off and on.
Yeah, he's streaky.
Brown can be very streaky coming off.
Yeah, he's a rookie, and I think that's a really good pickup for them. I think he's going to be really good.
I think he'll be better. Yeah,
yeah,
he's still young.
He's going to figure out, and so is Bones. I mean, let's face it. Bones is in his second season, so he's going to get better. And I love the kid's energy, and I love everything about his game, unless he's going 0 for 5 in a quarter. Like,
yeah, that's the issue. And anything under that, I would say, is basically kind of non-existent. Anyone under that, I mean, Green hasn't done anything.
Nope.
Concar hasn't done anything.
Nope.
Zeke Najee
hasn't done anything.
The other Brown, because we have 2 of them. Yeah. They got 2 of them. Ish Smith it can't stay healthy.
He's non-existent this year.
Yeah. He's been hurt a lot.
He didn't exist last year either.
A little bit more. I think he's averaging under 3 points a game right now.
Ish Smith wasn't on this team last year. Ish Smith came onto the team this year. He played.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
He was in Philly.
Right. I thought it was a trade in the middle of the year, but
no. But even then, I think he was averaging more coming off the bench last year than he is this year. He's under 3.
Yeah, the bench is not scoring at all.
Brutal.
So if they play average, which is all they have to do, play average and keep it close to where the score was when the starters left, whatever direction it was, up by 5, down by 5, keep it close.
Yeah.
Then the starters come back in and it's gravy. But
that's also part of why Jokic is just crushing people, because he has to. He has to come back almost way too often. He has to come back.
He's
get in.
frequently approaching a plus 20 in every game he's in. So what does that tell you about what the bench is doing? Because when he's in, so is Jamal, so is MPJ, so is AG, right?
I think Jokic is averaging like 34 minutes a game, something like that.
Which is low for him, and I like that. I like that a lot. Because he does tire out into the playoffs. So I think he won't ever do the game, the management thing. I don't think he'll ever sit a game.
No, he won't do that.
But if you can keep him under 35, I'm so good with that.
Yeah, it's better than definitely better than it was.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, he's still sitting right around that 34-minute mark, and I'm like,
I'll take it all day long.
He's going to need a break every once in a while, though. And
I mean,
where's that coming?
When the MVP is playing 34 minutes a game, that's pretty fucking good for the long-term health of the Nuggets' chances.
Last year, he was averaging 40 minutes a game plus?
Yeah, because he had to, right? No Jamal, no MPJ, everybody was hurt. Everybody else was a rookie. It was him and AG against the world.
Right.
I'm trying to think, is the entire starting lineup over 30 right now?
Per game played, I think Jamal isn't there yet, but he's on the way. If you take the season as a totality, probably not, because I think MPJ's lost some time.
I was going to say maybe Porter,
I know Jamal was on a restriction, but he's lately has been over 30, and I think over the season, I don't think he's there yet.
And I know Gordon's been right around there, and same with MCP or KCP. MCP. Who the fuck is MCP?
KFC.
Yeah.
ICP.
No. When I was 12, maybe.
You're right. All right, let's celebrate the Nuggets being in first place. Woohoo! And talk about the other team in town that is playing right now that is on a little bit of a struggle bus, mostly because of injuries. Yes, we are talking about the Colorado Avalanche. If the playoffs were to start today, they would be in 7th, which I think I'm okay.
7th in the conference right now.
7th in the conference.
4th in the division, I think.
Yeah, 4th in the division, 7th in the conference. So they're in. A lot of hockey yet to play. They just need to get healthy. Came out, I think, this morning. Nichushkin re-injured that surgically repaired ankle, which is about as specific as I've ever heard a hockey injury report ever.
Yeah, I've never seen that much detail on a hockey injury before.
Once the season's over, you get all the news, but
they mentioned a specific body part.
Yeah, they never do that. It's an upper body. So that could be anything from your fingertips to your head, right?
Yeah, upper body or lower body, and that's it.
Anything from the belt up or the belt down.
Upper body or lower body. Okay.
But yeah, they specifically mentioned his ankle, which is not great, but
right. Yeah, I just hope he didn't do any severe damage to it because they really need that guy.
They do.
One of the bright stars, and we've talked about him a little bit already, has been Georgiev. Georgie's been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
Had a stretch where he stopped 83 of 85 shots, including a shutout over 3 games, which is why he was one of the weekly 3 stars last week. Probably only surpassed by that crazy old Russian bastard in Washington. I can never remember his damn name. The scorer, the shooter, old bastard. Come on, help me. Brain for Ovechkin. Thank you. Getting old sucks.
I was trying to figure out where we were going with that. It's weird to think that he's old now, but I guess so. Huh?
Well, yeah. And the reason why he made the top star of the week is because he passed Gordie Howe on the list for goals scored. He gets a couple more 3 years. He's probably going to pass Gretzky. So, man's had an incredible career. But Georgie's playing just insanely good hockey, which is what they need to stay afloat right now.
And it's honestly a little bit interesting that he's been as good as he has. But, I mean, yeah, he looks good.
Not
a good move by Sakic?
I think so. I think kudos to the scouting team in there at Ball Arena, because Georgie didn't get a whole lot of time to play in New York because he's behind Shesterkin, and that guy's never coming out of the net because he's one of the best in the world. So they were able to pluck him off of that roster the way that they did. Good job, guys. Good job.
Yeah,
We love George.
absolutely.
And yeah, he's been playing better than Frankie for sure. So
Right. Well, there's a reason why Frankie's the number 2, and he's more than serviceable. Definitely a fan
Isn't he
favorite.
hurt right now, though?
I hadn't heard that Frankie was hurt.
I thought he was hurt.
I hadn't heard that one. Go ahead and
Let me
GTS while we're kicking over to the next point. We are now officially on Nate and Landy watch. Hopefully, one of these two guys comes back soon because that top line just is brutal.
Well, there's some unfortunate news in that one.
There it is. Dealing with a lower body issue. Won't travel to Arizona.
Oh, well, there you go.
There,
So he didn't go to the game yesterday.
Goalie, lower body. What do you want to bet it's a groin?
Right. But
Yeah,
they do have JoJo still, so that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all we have left, right?
Still there.
Right. Yeah, we got some depth there. Frankie,
but yeah, Landon Skog.
You know, and I'll tell you what. One thing about Frankie before we get back to Landy and McKinnon, we don't have Frankie last year. We don't win the Stanley Cup.
True.
Right. He held it together while
when Camper was having his weird
when
moments.
Darcy when he had an eyeball almost gouged out of his face.
Oh, well, that's
not a weird moment. He couldn't see. You have to be able to see.
He was fine.
He was literally half blind.
You're right.
Hockey player. I mean, come on.
You have to see. It's not like Joe Sakic in the 2001 Stanley Cup Finals playing with a torn pectoral muscle. You know, you have to be able to see as a goalie.
No, you just wave around enough. You'll probably block most of them.
Wave around. I just
got a big old glove, a big old stick. You know, wave them around.
Picture a goalie in the net waving around like one of those car dealership blow-up guys.
Yeah,
there's a puck over here.
And
there's a puck over here.
He looks like he's the character from Team America World Police giving the signal that he's in trouble.
Is that the signal?
But yes, Frankie was a huge thing last year. I agree.
Yeah, so he'll be back. We'll be happy to see him.
We're talking about this team being down, but it's not like, in a couple of months we're going to be talking about baseball. And it's not like they're Cleveland Spiders bad. We're going to be talking about the Spiders Cup in a couple of months. You weren't going to do it. I got them both in.
Boy, you wedged that thing hard too, man. That was.
I've seen worse.
Not much.
I've seen
Not
worse.
much. All right, that's enough of the NHL talk. Let's move on to some degeneracy. In honor of Muti, we will talk about bets we're looking at in the coming few days. I will fire off one that I have been looking at and kick it around the rest of the squad. I kind of like the Titans getting 11 at home against Dallas. We've talked about how much Mike McCarthy is a tool bucket as a head coach. I do not trust their ability to be able to call an offense appropriately. They are always trying to force feed Zeke, who has flashes, but he's nowhere near as dynamic as Tony Pollard is. They can't recognize that just because Jera loves him some Zeke. Give me the Tennessee Titans plus 11. Tank.
I'm with it.
It's plus 12. I mean, yeah.
That's a big number.
That's huge. The only way that possibly holds is if Henry sits. If Henry sits, then maybe that'll happen. But as far as I know, he's supposed to play, so I don't think so.
Yeah.
Last thing I heard, he was supposed to play, but an email just came across my desk from the fantasy football thing that I subscribed to, and it said Derrick Henry. So I'll find out after the podcast.
Oh, shit. Well, that wouldn't be great.
I'll just look at it right now.
I have 2 finals games this week. I kind of need Derrick Henry. Let's not have that.
Oh, yeah? Let's see. He has been downgraded to doubtful.
Fuck. Well, maybe be wary of that 12.
There you go.
Is that our third, fourth place game, or is that our first, second place game?
That is our first place game. Because we're doing 2 weeks of finals.
Yeah, final for some reason.
That's right. Tank, what bet are you looking at this week?
I'm actually, even though it's a close one, I'm actually looking at the Commanders going over Cleveland. It's kind of a coin toss right now because it's only 1.5 points, but Cleveland has looked so terrible the last, honestly, since Deshaun got in. And Washington, is weird as they are down, I think they're still playing for a playoff spot right now. So
Yeah, I have MGM's got Washington as a -2 at home against
yeah,
Cleveland.
and I think they'll cover that. To be honest, I think that Cleveland's been terrible.
Who's playing quarterback for Washington?
I believe it's
Is it
supposed
Carson?
to be. I believe it's supposed to be Carson because I think Hank. Yeah, I think he's being benched, so I think it is Carson.
I don't know if I like that.
It's not great, but
In Carson, I do not trust.
Cleveland is so bad right now and so ineffective on offense. And
Which
with
is
Washington,
weird because they've got so much talent. I mean, Njoku is more than solid as a tight end. They've got two badass running backs. Amari Cooper is really good. What are they doing wrong?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's true.
And with Washington's defense being capable enough to keep the game close, I think I just think it's going to end up being Washington.
I have a really good bet, but I'm going to need an updated number on it. This game started on Sunday when they released the initial lines at a pick'em. It is the Jets at Seattle. What is it at now?
Seattle's
Still
at home, getting 1.5 points.
Yeah.
So they are a 1.5 point underdog at home, which means there's a lot of money coming in on the Jets due to the Mike White starting. And
they are not the underdog.
What do you mean?
They're -1.5.
Seattle is -1.5?
No, Seattle's 1.5 points.
Yeah.
Oh, the Seattle's the underdog.
Yeah.
I thought you said the Jets were the underdog.
So it started at no. It started as a pick'em, and now Seattle is an underdog by 1.5 points at home.
Yeah.
So, but with all of the fans in New York being excited about Mike White, I think a lot of that is a market correction for Joe's coming in on the money with the pick'em. So right now is a great time to get Seattle catching 1.5 points at home. I think they'll win the game outright, but
that's surprisingly well reasoned from you.
That is actually
I'm
very well reasoned. I don't trust Seattle.
I don't play smart much, but when I do,
the only issue I have with it is that Geno Smith, the second half of the year, looks like Geno Smith with the Jets. So
he looks like Geno Smith.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked like Geno Smith the first half of the year. He's playing like Geno Smith now.
Right.
Yeah. But you could be right. This could be a weird,
you never know what happens in Seattle.
Interesting one. You might be right on that.
Odd.
Yeah.
Good call.
It's a weird line move. I'm just saying.
No.
It is a weird line move. Yeah.
No.
You could be right on that.
3 days. All those jabronis in New York going, forget about it. Just throwing cash.
Another one that weirdly I do trust is the 49ers by 10.
Yeah.
Over Vegas.
Over Oakland.
Oh, they're going to crush.
Oakland's a 10-point dog at home with Jared Stidham playing quarterback. Forget it.
He's about to get killed, I think.
So he's totally going to get killed. That team's in shambles, and I'm here for it.
I'm thinking that's a 20-point line. I'm thinking. To be honest.
We'll be on the road. I'll have to find it on satellite because it's awesome. Can't wait. All right, I have picked. What did I get? I had the Titans at home getting 11. Tank likes the Commanders. What were they getting? 2 or no? They're giving 2.
1.5.
All right, you got 1.5 on your side.
I got 1.5 right now.
All right, I see 2 at MGM.
It could be a 2, yeah.
Right. And Mark likes the Seahawks getting 1.5 points at home against the New York Jets. Jets. That brings us to final thoughts. Tank, I will start with you. What do you got for us, sir?
I don't care about the NFL right now. Let's go Nuggets.
Let's go Nuggets. So good.
I'm waiting for the draft at this point, so let's go Nuggets.
Right. Let's root for San Francisco to lose a bunch so we get a better draft pick in the first round.
Oh, God,
Right?
Let's do that.
that'd be great, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
No, you're absolutely right.
They're legitimately the best team in the NFL at the moment, which is
Yeah.
fucking
Not
horrifying.
bad. Right. With Mr. Irrelevant playing quarterback.
Yeah. And he has nothing to do with their success because I could play
No, we're
quarterback
not
there and
talking
have
about Chad Kelly.
No, we are not. Who's still out there stumping for a job?
He's doing good in Canada.
Sure.
I think didn't he win MVP for the Grey Cup?
He did.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I think
he's
that's
doing
accurate.
good in Canada.
Yeah. There's plenty of Molson for him to drink.
You also don't go to jail
Right.
for breaking and entering there. I think you just walk into whoever's house you want and stay the night. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right. Just one big episode of Letterkenny up there.
That incident here happened right down the street.
you gotta watch out for getting your ass beat by Wayne. That's about it.
Right.
We drove by the house that happened at the next day.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I
it
lived-
happened right down the street from Nen and Pop-Ups.
Well, I lived there too at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's
40 plus
fantastic.
of a month.
Yeah.
So we went down there and checked it out. Like, oh yeah. I mean, I guess if you're totally drunk, you can like walk around the back alley of this place and walk into this Adobe looking house, and
That's impressive.
woo, that's crazy.
Could you imagine all of the insane hockey playing farm guys on Letterkenny just telling Chad Kelly to shut the fuck up all the time, like they do Shorzy? Shut the fuck up, Chadsy. All right, Mark, your turn. What do you got?
Yeah, I got not a whole lot. I think I'm gonna try to. Should we do a dipshit of the week?
Do you have one?
Not really.
I had one and I can't remember it. 1 second. What was it?
I just don't want to forget about dipshit of the week.
Oh, yeah, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is a good one.
That's
What
a good one.
cheating cunt.
I was gonna say Derwin James. I had him on my list.
Derwin
I don't
James
think
is a
that
good
was
one.
intentional. I will say that.
He broke him in half though, so
And he'd just gotten flagged for unnecessary roughness like 2 plays before.
right.
So, yeah,
It was not
that's pretty dipshitish.
it was a context foul for sure.
Mhm.
But
I
yeah,
guess that's true. All right.
you know, join us for the nerds next week when I completely trash Black Adam.
I have not
Oh.
watched it yet.
That's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
The movie was
Is it-
awful.
Is it just that bad? Is it really?
The
My
Rock
wife-
is really good,
Yeah.
but the
The
story
rest of
is
it's-
absolute, and the graphics are insane. Like the movie is visually very stunning, but the story makes no fucking sense.
I was watching it. The boys were home, and
unfortunate.
I was watching like the last 10 minutes. And Sarah comes downstairs. She goes, "I can't believe you watched this without me," because she loves The Rock. I'm like, Sarah,
me
you're
too.
so glad you did not. This is one you're happy you missed.
Yeah.
This was garbage.
It was a bad movie.
Yeah, it was awful.
I spent half of the movie watching it like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and like the context of everything that they're doing. Never mind. That's
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
We'll get
That's
into it.
next week.
But yeah,
Next
join us
week.
next week when we
Right.
talk about that movie.
I do want to point out on the Nerds That Know front, please go and check out the remote broadcast we did from You Deserve Art in Southwest Plaza. What an amazing conversation we had there, with both guys. So just sitting on the couch, just talking. One of the best things we've done on either one of these podcasts in a long time. So, and if you're in the mood and market for art, whether it be $15 or $15,000, go check it out because there's something there for everyone and it's all spectacular. So
Yeah, the Duchess did a really great job hooking us up with that interview. I'm sad that she didn't get to go, but I'm very glad that we'll be able to do it again because those guys are really cool and look forward to seeing them again. And,
Yep.
Tank coming up was awesome too. It was a really good time. We didn't
Yep.
very rarely get all of us in the same room. It happened once last Christmas on the Gooncast. That wasn't necessarily all there for that one.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then this one on Monday was pretty fun too. So
yeah, so
It's
yeah, go
always
check
fun.
that out on the Nerds That Know page for sure.
yeah,
And the other thing I want to say is I hope that each and every one of you had a really good chance to spend some quality time with friends and family over the holiday weekend. Please be safe going into this holiday weekend because it is amateur night and the chicanery and shenanigans will abound. Trust me.
we're staying here.
We're driving home that day. We're going to sit here just like we'll be in Albuquerque Saturday night, so we're not going anywhere either. So
No, we're just holing up in Fort McPaufel here.
Yep, absolutely. So a big shout out again to Muti. We love you, buddy. For the absent dipshit for Tank. I almost forgot. We need to do socials. Tank, hit us with the socials for Knox Collectibles.
Tank Knox and Knox Nostalgic Collectibles on Instagram, Facebook, all those things. And you'll see me here and down in TK every other week.
There you go. Mark, you got anything you want to pimp?
My ride.
I'll allow it.
Really, you've got all the deets.
I know. I just didn't know if you had anything you wanted to talk about.
And there's some
Something you
stuff
wanted to
going
shout
on
out.
my TikTok that I'm working on, because we're trying to find a new coach. So I'm going to be posting some videos of me asking things about if they're things and people if they want to be coached. So be on the lookout for those. But that's about all I got.
And you can make sure you check out Nerds That Know everywhere under the Nerds That Know. You can find us at My Brother is an Idiot on Facebook, at the Idiot Goons on Twitch and Twitter. Mark's Twitter is at Poffeltime. My Twitter is at Poffelupagus. My TikTok at King Goon Smoke. Lots of fun playing with music and meat and smoke. It's a good time always.
And you get to see his big dumb head a lot.
Yeah. Oh, not so much lately. The last one there was just a quick big dumb head, but it's more about the brisket. It's more about the brisket. Yeah, absolutely. For the absent dipshit, for the absent muti, for Tank, and the one with the hair. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Matt. This has been My Brother's an Idiot. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bruh.
Bruh.